And what I realized is that most of us, if not everybody, were always happy to help others, just a little bit, right? And that can help, other people tremendously just by spending 5 minutes. Measuring is crucial. And today, very, very few companies measure well. Very, very few buildings that we see in cities measure well their aircon consumption. At that time in Bangkok, there was new malls that were getting built. And one mall was consuming as much energy as a medium city in the country.
Damn.
You're watching Next Big Wave, the podcast for founders by founders in Southeast Asia. In this episode, we're going to talk about founder journeys, growth strategies, and much more. Just to help me out, if you could like and subscribe, it would be awesome. And let's get into the episode. Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of Next Big Wave. Today, I'm with a French founder called Brice Degeyter. Brice is the founder and general manager of Bizsu, a climate tech company based out of Singapore. Brice, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone.
So Brice, since you and I are French, we've already talked a lot. You're part of my Next Big Wave program as well. So we've had a chance to get to know each other. You have a really fascinating background. And, if you open your LinkedIn, you're probably one of the most prolific people I've yet to have interviewed in terms of your work experience and the amount of stuff you get involved in. Tell us a little bit about Bizsu to get us into your mindset, and then we can talk about your path that led to building this company.
And so basically with Bizsu, we help companies save up to 50% energy in just 5 minutes. And so the way we do it, it's by using a patented hardware, and we connect with any type of companies that basically spend a lot of energy on aircon.
Yeah, so it's an Aircon specific sort of energy saving device, right?
Exactly.
Cool. And so you built this company about 5 years ago, right? In
5 years ago,
Singapore.
yeah.
What brought you to Singapore, first of all? And then can you tell me about the trajectory that you took from childhood to becoming a founder of a climate tech company?
So originally, I moved to Singapore because it was part of my studies. I did my MBA in Singapore, and so I basically came here first to do that, and then moved to Bangkok for an opportunity after my MBA, and then I came back here to launch the company because I thought it was the best way to do that. It was the best way to make it happen.
Awesome. And so let's talk about your background, like your professional background. Where did you start? Why did you get into entrepreneurship? That's my number one question always. We come from all these different backgrounds. Why did we decide to torture ourselves with becoming founders?
Yeah. So I come from north of France, and I basically come from a pretty poor family, and a pretty broken one as well. So basically, I had a childhood that I wouldn't recommend to anyone. And so very early, I had to find ways to make it through, basically. And so quite young, I went to the biggest house in the neighborhood, and I was asked to do some job. And so my first job was actually a painter. I will basically paint, the furnitures of my neighbors, and they will give me a little bit of money. Then with this money, I will find ways to basically um, buy things from my friends and sell it a little bit more expensive. to them. So I will find things that they couldn't get, and I will sell it to them. And so I will always try to find ways to to make money, and try to basically go out of where I'm from. And so basically, I mean, where I was. And so I think this is really where it started, my entrepreneur journey, where the mindset is from.
Sort of getting out of your existing paradigm and buying your way out of it essentially, like somehow.
Well, basically, I was in a way that, um, you just want to get out, and whatever happens, you need to find a way. You need to find ways to make it. And so, this is what we see in entrepreneurship, right? When you have big constraints, right? You always find ways to make it through. And so in my case, it was quite similar. There was big hurdles, and so just try to find ways to make it through. And so whatever happened, you need to make it happen, right?
Hmm.
You need to find ways.
Okay.
Right.
So creates a lot of drive, and you just whatever you set your mind to, you see it to till the end, right? So that's what motivated you to get into entrepreneurship or just to get into business in general. Because you didn't start right off the bat as an entrepreneur, right? So you went through professional journey. I'm just curious, what within that journey pushed you towards building your own startup? Did you feel that that was a way to make even more money or make more impact or have more control over your decisions? Like there's all these reasons why people like you and I, we build businesses. I'm just curious to
Yeah.
find out what yours would be at this point.
Yeah. So, first, I felt the best ways overall. Um, it was through studies. And so, I could see, you know people around me, going into different type of troubles, in smoking, drinking, and nobody really succeeded at school. And for me, I don't think I was the best student, but I was not the worst either. And I always thought that, schools could help a lot to make it through. So I really try to um to make the best out of it. And so, doing high school wasn't easy, but made it through. And then going to uni, and then try to find the best uni where I could study at. And I think doing this, there was part of me that wanted to make it as it was a way for me to, not to think about where I grew up, and try to be a normal kid in a sense. So to do normal studies, to do the things that normal kids will do, right? And so went to uni, and then study in a business school. Try uh, to make things as someone who had a normal background, basically. Then try to get a normal job. And so my first job was my first job. I've after uni, and after my studies, I was a statistical engineer. And so, big company. I try to do I would say the normal things, what I thought was the normal things. And so did different type of jobs. Try to learn as much as possible. Then at some point, I could see as well that being an employee, and then, you know, follow rules for me has always been also a little bit harder than anybody else. Because basically where I grew up, there was not much rules. I grew up without a dad, and my mom was not really there. So, uh, you know, to me, follow rules are always been a bit more complicated. And so I think at some point being an entrepreneur was quite obvious. It was not much to, to have more money per se, because is it really the best way? Where it's debatable. Um, it's at some point, to me, um, being an entrepreneur is, um, choosing who you want to work with, choosing who are your colleagues, choosing who are your clients, choosing the projects that you want to work on. It's having the freedom to do really what you want to do. Um, and so, um, after trying different type of things, I think being an entrepreneur was quite an obvious way. In Japan, they have the ikigai, and ikigai, it's basically, you need to do, um, things that you like, things you can get paid for, things that is good for the community, right? And things that you are good at, right? And and basically, for them, it takes quite a lot of time to reach the ikigai, right? You will have a lot of trial and errors. And my background before being an entrepreneur was also a bit this one. I tried different things. At some point, being an entrepreneur was quite obvious. And so this is what I done. I believe a bit later on that I was really did this company. I'm in Bizsu. I was 30. Previous one, I was 25, and I had a bit of, I worked for different companies in between, but at some point, it really gave me some time to realize that being an entrepreneur was just the best to me, to what I did in the past, and what I want to do later on.
Yeah, very cool. So, for those people who don't have your LinkedIn in front of them, you've been through a few countries in Asia. You've also spent quite a bit of time in Bangkok. That's where you had your other startup that you exited. You
Yeah.
sold that to Central Group, is that correct?
No, 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 no. I
Okay.
wish.
You sold and then worked for Central Group separately, separate events.
Yeah, I work for Central Group. Yeah, so that was, what, 8 years? Sorry, 6 years ago now, 6 7 years ago. Um, so, it was a bit in between. So basically, I had a first experience as an entrepreneur, and I wanted to learn a bit more, from. I thought I was. It's good to start very early. When you're an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
I recommend anyone to start the earliest as possible.
Okay.
And for anyone who think about, should I do any entrepreneurial journey, I would recommend it to do it, as young as possible, because it gives you skills and mindsets, mainly mindsets that are very very different from what you learn in a corporate job, and even at school, actually. So you need to relearn everything when you're an entrepreneur.
Hmm.
However, what I discovered as well in my first first company that I had at 25 is that there were some skills I was lacking, and there are some skills that I could get um, once I am inside a company. And so working for Central Group helped me as well um, to learn different things, learn how a company is working. From when you are an executive,
Mhm.
how are decision made. When you are in such a big company, because I was a board member there, and so I mean in one of the PUs, and so that was a way as well for me to help different things, and since I was starting on my sustainability journey, um, that was also a way for me to see, like, how such a big company can adopt sustainability, and and how can we convince such a company to adopt sustainability initiatives, and how are those decisions made. And so um, and so just doing 1 year there. So 1 year is relatively short
Mhm.
for a job in a corporate, and at the same time, you can learn a lot in 1 year.
Mhm.
And so doing this helped me tremendously, in building Bizsu afterwards, in understanding who do we need to speak with, who are the decision makers, in the different companies. How do you make an idea really going through, right? So once you suggest your once you offer your proposal, basically, um, how is the proposal going through the company? Who do you need to speak with inside the company? Um, and um, and another thing that helped me as well was, how can I make how can I start projects that really have an impact? Because Central Group is such a very large company in the country. Um, I thought that any small initiatives that I could start could have potentially a big impact. And so
Mhm.
there were different initiatives that I started, and some had not a very very big impact, but some had tremendous ones, and so uh, I would say it's not always the best idea that works. It's just the idea that resonates the most with the people you have in front of you, right?
For
It's
sure.
it's the timing. So people that the idea that you suggest, if this is at the right place at the right time, this is the one that will work. It's not always the best. But so different projects that were very interesting, and one that really resonated internally was how to stop shopping bags in the business units of the company. So knowing that at the time, every people in Thailand were consuming on average several shopping bags per day, right? So that's 2
Uh-huh.
billion per month, right?
Yeah.
That's around 25 billion, right? With a B, per year. And so how could we diminish this, right? I mean, first, can we? And if yes, how can we do it? And so I thought that if we can implement a small thing, it would have later on a big impact within the country, because I was part of a large organization. And basically we initiated small project, and it started to work, and then C levels of the group started to you know think about this closely, and then we launch a campaign that was relatively large, and so that was, if I'm not wrong, around 500 stores of the company,
Mhm.
right? So 500 stores. It was quite a small, small number for the business, but it was obviously quite large. Um, and basically we did that on a Friday, and so we said that we will stop giving away shopping bags completely, and then on the next day we saw the biggest competitor doing the same thing, and then
Nice.
another competitor doing the same thing on the next day, and then every day we will see this. And so in 1 week there was no big company, no big retail store that was giving away shopping bags anymore.
That's crazy.
And yeah, and so this is when you see that when you do good things in terms of sustainability, everybody look at each other. And so when you do something good, other will see that, right? So that's a good way to to show your competitors, right, the right thing to do. This is also a way to show talents that you are doing good for the environment, and people are really concerned about this. What One of the biggest drive for talent in the companies they will be working with, it's sustainability. And so that's a way for you to attract talent. That's a way for you to retain the talents that you have as well. And so we could see that that basically, when you start a little thing in sustainability, right, you can basically really have a massive impact, thanks to the snowball effect, I will say. It's just a little thing that you try to do, and step by step people talk about it, and step by step, things are getting bigger and bigger.
I love it.
um, yeah.
Did you land in sustainability by chance, or were you seeking to work in that field? Because you don't have your background doesn't say sustainability to begin with. So I'm curious how you landed there.
If you're watching this and you're a B2B startup founder in Southeast Asia struggling to grow your startup, we have a whole community of founders just like you. And on a weekly basis, we discuss strategies and growth hacks. We'd love to have you amongst us. Feel free to join at nextbigwave.co or find the link in the description. I'll see you there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually studied sustainability, but much later on. Uh,
Um,
so it's only once I started Bizsu, then I wanted to learn what was done, at school. What could people learn at school? I mean, what was done. So I did a program at Harvard, and yeah, it's only later on that I studied sustainability. Before that, I studied finance, um, and finance and math, and so I was not into it at all. But when I was I grew up in a village, and so I always got a bit conscious, about recycling, about what you do with the waste overall.
Posting.
Yeah, exactly. And so later on, when I was living in Thailand, in Bangkok, I I realized that cities are overall not very good for our environment. And we can say cities globally, and obviously Bangkok specifically, and we talk about solid waste, but also energy waste.
Mhm.
So basically, at that time in Bangkok, there was new malls that were getting built, and one mall was consuming as much energy as a medium city in the country.
Damn.
Yeah. So that was, when I realized this, I realized how massive it was. And when you enter a mall, um, you, you you can you don't need to really look into the details to understand that there is a lot of waste in terms of energy, right? You're right there. It's freezing, right? You don't want it, but it's freezing. You can see that doors are constantly open. You can see that the the glass, are not great. The windows, right, are not great. And so you can see that there is a lot of waste into it. And and basically, um at the time I realized that nobody was talking about sustainability overall, and
Okay.
nobody was talking about energy waste. So that was 10 years ago. And when you look at the news, when you were looking at the news back then, nobody cared. Well, when you looked at what companies were doing, they didn't care at all. And I thought that there was a few people working on it, and they were doing amazing things. And I thought that I wanted to be part of it. If I had to make, something of my life, I think there is, while being on Earth, I think there is nothing better than doing something for the future generations. I think there is nothing better to tell my, kids and grandkids, like, the world I try to do, a world that is better for you now than what it was before. This is what I would like to tell them when I will be on my deathbed. So
Boy, we're going deep already on your deathbed. Let's talk
well,
about it as an
yeah.
aspiration to build something meaningful and impactful. Don't have to go that far.
No, but I mean, this is at the time, this is really what I thought. I was like,
It's your
it's-
legacy, basically. You want to build a business that is a legacy that generations can be proud of. Something like
yeah,
that?
and whereas something that you can make out of it, basically,
Yeah.
that you really try to make the world a little bit better, but not just now, really
At least
something
not worse. Yeah.
something yeah something that really, I would say, something that really lasts,
Okay.
something that really lasts.
And so Bizzu's business model is interesting because it's a tech startup in the sense that you're bringing hardware and software to, optimize for a certain problem. In your case, you found an existing patented technology that you decided that you were going to license throughout Asia and use that as a wedge to get into enterprises that want to make an impact or like have some sort of impact initiative. And then that wedge you turn into a software sale afterward with your SaaS, which is sort of an IoT monitoring of energy usage and like more optimization options through that app, right? So you have like a hardware that you're leveraging someone else's technology and licensing it, and then your own software, which is like that's the real money maker as well. So tell me more about this business model. How did you discover this technology, and what's different between having this type of model versus doing everything yourself from scratch? Because I think you're quite unique in that sense from my experience.
So basically, again, in my, going back to when I discovered that that I wanted to be part of the sustainability journey, I realized as well that companies will need sustainability. That companies will need sustainability, but since it's quite new and complicated, they will not really understand um, how to make the change. And this is what we see today, basically, right? And so I was looking fine. I was looking for different ways to make companies um, adopt sustainability. And when I was part of Central Group, it was really part of my job. And I discovered a technology that was fascinated that was fascinating, that I was fascinated by, and I realized that this technology should be everywhere. I realized that it should be known by everybody. And so I try first to bring it inside the company I was working for. I thought that we should definitely use this. If we can save up to 25% energy on aircon in all our malls, in all our supermarkets, in all our facilities, right? This is a big step to help the company and the country to save energy. And so I started to talk about it internally, and then when I quit the company, I wanted to do more of it.
Uh-huh.
I felt like now that I try to push it inside one company, I want to try to push it inside many different companies. And basically, with a company that developed this technology, we were, in very good relationship, and quite naturally, we continue to work together. This is when I decided to come back to Singapore. I thought there was a big need in Singapore, and because in Singapore, 30% of the carbon emissions of the country are linked to aircon. So in the world, that's around 3%, right? It's roughly as much as the aviation industry. So, as Europeans, right, mainly French, we like to say, yeah, aviation is bad, right? Um, Overall, aviation in the world, it's around 3% of our carbon footprint. And that's roughly the same as aircon and aviation. In Singapore, it's much, much higher. Aircon is much, much higher. And so I thought there was a big market. It was a big potential. So this is when I came back to Singapore and launch Bizsu, because I thought that this technology will have a lot of potential. And so when we suggested this hardware to companies, we also realized that we cannot just plug our technology that is very, very simple to install, very easy to understand, and save a lot of energy. We can't just plug it like this, and that's it. Um, Even if it's plug and play, companies always want to know how much energy they can save. They always want to know, what's really this impact. What is the impact of this uh, magic technology that we have? And so um, basically, this is when we started to work on measurement. If you can measure well, basically you can manage well. And so once we can measure efficiently the aircon consumption of our clients, then they can manage well their aircon consumption. They can use our technology, and they can see exactly how much they save, and the impact that it can have inside their company, and over their own P&L. And so measuring is crucial. And today, very, very few companies measure well. Very, very few buildings that we see in cities measure well their aircon consumption. And so we realize that if we really want to grow and really want to serve our clients the best way as possible, it's by basically offering a measuring solutions attached to our energy saving solutions. And so now this is why we have both of them.
Very cool. Yeah, very cool. And so what's the like you've had this business for about 5 years. Where are you at in your business life cycle? I know you're fundraising right now, but can you tell us a bit more of where you are and where you're headed in the next few years?
So, well, the goal for us, we have been really focused on Singapore so far, and there are many countries that will need us. So there are other countries in the region where we really need to to offer our services. um, we can, we can see companies coming to us. We cannot always, serve them properly the way that we want to, but this is definitely something that we should do in the future. So actually now we just joined, for example, to programs that will help us to serve more companies in different countries in the region.
What programs
Um,
did you join? I'm curious.
so one, it's founded by the UN. It's called SDG Venture Scaler. Um, Another one, it's called AS4EE. So this one is basically financed by the European Union, and organized by Touchstone Venture. So this is also very, very interesting program, very, very qualitative program. And actually, we just joined another one uh, because, yeah, in French we say jamais deux sans trois, so never two without three. And so yeah, another one in with the Hong Kong government.
Okay. These are all like free, no equity, no money kind of program, just more exposure and stuff like that, right?
Yes, yes,
Oh,
and
very
and
cool.
yeah, full support. Yeah, this is very interesting.
Lovely. Awesome. And so, if we talk about something that is other than Bizsu, you're a guest lecturer, you're a professional speaker, you've done a lot of other stuff. So, my take, and obviously I know you personally, but I know you're a big content guy. You believe as in content as sort of a growth hack. Can you tell us more about that and overall sort of the growth hacks that you believe in and that have helped you get to where you are right now?
Yeah, um, uh, I believe that um, communication, it's very important. Uh, I don't think I am the best at it at all, but I do believe that communication is crucial. And so um, we ourselves got different clients um, just by communicating through LinkedIn. And so this is very this is very interesting. Just communicating about what you do helps tremendously, and it's another thing that we definitely need to do later on. It's communicating even more about what we do, where we are going to, with different stakeholders. Um, then I value a lot um, support as well, helping others. And I, when I started, when I started the company, some people helped me, just because they wanted to help people. And what I realized is that um, most of us, if not everybody, we're always happy to help others, just a little bit, right? And that can help, other people tremendously just by spending 5 minutes, 5 minutes just introducing you to someone, 5 minutes just giving a few pieces of advice on your business. Just spending a little bit of time can help other people tremendously. And so this is what I believe in. So I mentor quite a few people through different programs. I teach as well, because this is also a way for me to basically help students learning what everything I have learned in these years, and what I wish I have learned when I was at school. And I realized that doing this, you know, this is what I say as well to my team, and to the people I support, is that the more I help, the more I receive.
Mm-mm.
Because when I make an intro to someone, the person will often make an intro sooner or later, to someone I would like to speak with, or I wanted to speak with.
Mhm.
When I teach, the students will also tell me things that I didn't think about, that I didn't realize, you know, and it's sometimes some things that are very obvious to them, and oh wow, I didn't think about this.
Very good.
And so I realized that by helping, I receive a lot. So that's to me also a very good act that I could, I mean, that I used in my business. And then link to this, it's trying to really connect people, but even when you are not asked for. So when you
Being
see
proactive, basically, right?
yeah, when you see that there are some connections, right, you just try to do it, because if there is something that is good happening, you make two very happy people, right? And you really know, you really don't know what can happen from that, right? And but always good things can happen from it. and
Yeah, yeah.
um and so yeah, using this little things really helped me a lot. And and then I will use I will say another hack that I've used myself quite recently, that I found fascinating, is how do you thank people um, in a original way. And basically today, something that is original is writing a letter,
Handwriting.
handwriting.
Damn. Old
And s-
school.
and so basically now, to thank people, we actually write letters. And so to me, there is nothing better that someone who really spent a little bit of time to really thank you for what you have done. I highly value this, and so this is what I do now for people who have helped me, or people who have trusted us.
I love that. So, is your handwriting good enough? Because I feel like if I wrote letters, people would just throw them in the garbage. I can't write first.
My
My
honest,
writing is so bad.
my handwriting is terrible. So yeah, I just need to spend a bit more time to make sure that people can read me properly. Uh, yeah, I just need to again find ways to make it proper.
I love it. So, already through this call, you're very sort of not advicey, but you're very well spoken. You give a lot of great tips. I feel like to end things well on this podcast, you're going to give us a few, advices that you like to follow, some rules, some tips and tricks that we can end on a high note. Am I right? You have some things up your sleeve?
So yeah, I always have a few things. I can tell pieces of advice that I like to share to my students, to my team. I can share pieces of advice that I realized quite recently as well. Recently, I would say this year. Um, Pieces of advice that I usually give is use what we call the 5-hour rule. So the 5 hour rule is like basically there is 5 working days per week. Five, sorry, five, yeah, 5 working days per week. And so basically, on average, try to learn for something for 1 hour per working day. You can do that in a batch, right? It's not a big deal, but I think this has helped me tremendously over the last years. And we usually think like, yeah, after when you are a student, if you're yeah after my studies, I don't need to learn anymore. No, 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 no. wrong, wrong idea.
Just getting started.
You somehow you are just getting started. And so 5 hour rule, it's I believe it's crucial. Another one that helped me a lot as well, and I believe more and more people. I mean, I would say that people getting worse and worse at this is listening. It sounds very simple. It's not. And I started my company before COVID. And just before COVID, I wanted to focus on hotels and offices because I thought that these are the two types of companies that need to save a lot of energy linked to aircon. And COVID happened. And so, right? Obviously, there was not much we could do there. And basically, what we have done is speak with a lot of them. And so we have tried to understand, right? What are their issues? How can we help them further? Do they need a solution? How can we help them further? And basically, listening to their own problems and just asking them questions and listen to what they had to say help us a lot in defining basically what we could do the years after. And the years after we grew by 10x, because we have done this hard work during 1 or 2 years of really understanding what really listening to what our clients wanted. And if you think about it, listening, it's crucial in other ways. If you read Good to Great, basically the best CEOs are basically the best listeners. If you think inside your own family, right? The family that basically have the less trouble, or I would say over time, it's basically when you can listen well, and it's not only hear it, it's really listening to it
Mhm,
and change the behavior after that.
mhm,
Listening, I believe it's crucial. And with more and more screens, with more and more social media, we tend to listen less and less. And so it's definitely something I believe we should get back more at. Um, and then one thing that a few things that I realized recently. This is more for entrepreneurs. At some point, I thought that I heard that if you focus on your business, you cannot focus on VCs. And if you focus on VCs, you need to on investors, you need to focus 100% on it.
mhm,
Um, what I realized is that um, if you focus only on investors, um, basically it's more complicated to make your business working well. And basically the priority of your business is that it works well, is that it can go fast with with you guiding it, right, with you leading it. And so if you do at the same time, if you can lead your company well, if you can grow fast and grow well, investors at some point will come to you. And so what I realized, it's basically spending less time on trying to do the things that investors want to see, spending less time to really, you know, basically get money from them, focusing more on doing the best for my clients, and investors will come. They will come, or I would say they will come faster. Meaning that the effort that you will need to put in is minimal. Um, and and same thing for clients as well, is that sometimes you try to get some clients very, very hard, right? And you cannot do it. Where actually, what they like might be just trust in your product. What they like is just maybe reference in your own sector or something like this. So one thing you can do, it's basically just connect with the companies that are around it. And once you do that well, this one will lead you to get the client that you really wanted. Um, and so overall, what I've realized is that when you have a business, the definition of the business is to help your clients, is to help clients. And so, get this right the best way as possible. Really focus on it, and then the other things that you try to get, um, bigger clients, investors, partners, um, they will come to you naturally
I agree with that.
when you
Bring
communicate
value.
well. Exactly. And
Mm.
when you communicate well, right? So it comes back to the communication that we talked earlier. When you communicate well as well, it makes things much easier.
Lovely. Well, some words to live by. Bring value, communicate well, and things will gravitate towards you. Yeah, I love those. Brice, thank you so much, man. This was an insightful episode. Is there
Love
something
it.
you want to add or shout out to before we end here?
Um, Not really. I look at some notes. I don't have more things, but we can maybe give some updates at some point, and you know do another session to see
For
if
sure.
they'll.
There's always more to talk about, especially
Exactly.
hopefully your fundraising closes successfully and you're like off to the races onto the next 10x growth.
Well, thank you very much for your time. Really appreciate.
Thanks, Brice. That was
See
the
you.
episode. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye.